Hello, friends. Well, every time when I've had one of these lovely Tuesday morning gatherings, which I do once a month, I usually jump on afterwards for my YouTube just to share how beautiful it is. And here I am again, the first Tuesday of the month. We just finished one earlier today, and it is just really, for me, it's just so touching and so beautiful to just get together with a smaller group. I'm still small, I don't attract the crowds, but I do attract people who are on that same frequency and who also like to connect with others. Because here's the thing, everything is changing. And if you are one of the few in your community, in your church, in your household, at work, if you're the only one who is beginning to go like, something is not right out there, something does not make sense anymore. But then everybody's, agrees that no, it's right on and yada yada. And at the same time, you may also start waking up to something in here like, why am I asking for permission to be or do who I am? Why am I apologizing for being different? Why am I following these rules when everything in me screams no? This is what's happening when you are waking up kind of on your own, and you can't stop it, but you can kind of maybe stall it or slow it down or ignore what's happening and what you're seeing because you do not have any feedback or reflection or witnessing in a positive way out there. And that's why so many times I have talked about the importance of community. And I will do that again because I see it happening every time, on these little monthly meetings, also in other groups where we have live groups where we meet friends or others. And there is always like this a sense of recognition, belonging, um, just like being confirmed or realizing something that somebody else says that you go, oh. So, when somebody puts words to something that you are experiencing, but you didn't have words for it yet, there's somehow a connection that the words confirm your experience. And in that, you get a, oh, and that moment, you expand more. You kind of know it in a deeper way. You already knew it, but now you know it deeper. And that is how my process has been a lot of the time, where, over many years, as soon as I had somebody confirm something that I knew inside, I could embody it more. I could say yes to it without less doubt or wondering. Because it's normal, when you've lived in a matrix your whole life and probably many lives, everybody takes everything for granted. And here you are going like, something is not right. And we really need that confirmation. And I think I shared recently that I have a few friends who did it all on their own, not in this country because I'm from Denmark. And I was so impressed that they just stood their ground, even though everybody around them would say she's crazy or he's crazy or you're wrong or whatever it is. And I know many of you have that same experience. And it is just so nourishing and nurturing to be in a tribe or in a community where everybody goes like, oh yeah. Oh, yeah, I have that same experience. And then another may go, oh my God, me too. And it is nice also for me to see, over the many months that I've been doing these gatherings where I just see people nodding when somebody else is sharing. And so it's not just me facilitating it. I kind of am, but I'm learning just as much from everybody else. There's a confirmation of something that I've been sharing, and then I know, like, oh, wow, that really landed well. I didn't know that when I shared it, because when I share, I don't really know what's going to come out of my mouth. Well, do we ever know? But it feels just like there's a flow that I just kind of let myself be guided by. And then it is very, very, it's just very lovely to really feel how it lands, and that I'm not the only one. As light workers, and I always think that a lot of people on my channel are light workers or somehow relate to that term. It is our time now. And I can say that very confidently because I'm a light worker. And I mean, it's a role we play. A lot of us came down here with a certain frequency for these times. And I've known this for a very long time, but I didn't know it in my mind as a confirmation the way I know it now, because there are so many other people who say the same. I lived for so many years. There was a part of me that was just waiting for something. I didn't really know what, but I knew that what I came here for wasn't here yet. I mean, how do you explain that to anybody, right? Who's totally identified with the matrix. So I couldn't get much confirmation for that. But then as more and more people, or as I started hearing more and more people talk about it, some of the big names, we go like, oh yeah, so I'm not crazy. And I really think that, those of us who have something to share, and but are in not sure about it, come to one of our gatherings and just run it by us. Run it, just share it and see what happens. You might be very pleasantly surprised. And then when you are pleasantly surprised, you trust it more, you feel a little more confidence. And then you may just go out and share it in whatever way you feel moved to. And then when you do that, you might have a little group that go like, oh, right? And then this person might go it, or not do a group, maybe just, with your partner, your family, your kids, somebody at work. You might just start speaking about it a little differently, a little more confidently, and maybe still cautiously, but you might just, say something and just feel. And then somebody, in the back will go, what did you just say? I want to talk with you. So, in that way, I think it's really beautiful that we start sharing from a deeper place, because it feels like we are being confirmed more, and then we have that more confidence to do it. And then there is less fear and doubt of how people may respond. And we don't have to blurt it all out in one big paragraph. We just sense it, and we can check out, we can ask some questions if there's an interest in hearing your experience. So, you just test out the waters a little bit, and then you'll see where it goes. And it's lovely. It really is lovely. When I meet people, maybe strangers, I kind of can usually sense where they're at. And then I might just ask a question. And as soon as it's been confirmed, boom, there's a connection. There's just a connection because we're on the same frequency. And that's lovely to talk about them. It's beautiful. So that's why I highly recommend community, whether you want to join my Tuesday once a month. It's not a lot. I might expand it at some point if there's going to be more interest. I would probably love to do it twice a month or maybe 4 times a month. But I want to first see, it's still small, and if there really is an interest for that. But I want to just kind of put in a little plug for it, because it is very, very satisfying every time we do it. And I have a feeling that some people may go out and start doing their own little thing. Not in the way we used to do it in the past, but the whole marketing thing, and you have to do this, and send out all these emails. unless that's something that you feel passionate about. I don't personally. And if you are on my email list, you'll know that you probably get one email a month, once in a while, maybe one more, and mostly just to remind you of the gathering. And then I share a few of my YouTubes if you have not watched them. So it's very low key. That's my way. Maybe somebody would say, Pernilla, you should do more. It's like, maybe that's true, but I would need help with that. I don't feel the inner flow to go and do again because I've done so much of the doing to make things happen. And I feel done with that. I want to stay in a flow where it's easy and I can just hop on the flow and let the flow take me. If something invites me or inspires me or, yeah, drags me somehow, then I will do it because then it feels natural and effortless. And that's, again, that's my way. Your way may be very differently. So you find your flow. And when we have the gatherings, there is not one right flow. There is everybody's flow, is it? And the more we connect with that inner flow and trust it, the more we just literally surrender to the divine and little by little allow the divine to take over more and more of our life. What we need to let go of in that surrender is, of course, the holding on, believing that we have to do it. That was a big one for me too, where I have to do this. So it was very hard for me for a while to fully let that go because I was so identified with being the doer, and it's up to me and I have an important message to share. I had to let it all go and just keep surrendering and opening up to how it wants to flow. So when you get into the flow will have to move through all these barriers, right, that we have built up as a separate sense of self. That all will wash away. And the more you're able to be present in the discomfort of not knowing or thinking you need to know, or should I do, should I not do, there's a lot of discomfort in that. And that's usually when we jump out of the flow because it's too uncomfortable as these layers are being dissolved. So we jump out and off we go again, separate sense of self, trying to change the world. The world is not going to change by a separate sense of self. The world is going to dissolve by the surrender into our light, into our source, and allow that light to dissolve what is not like itself, what is unlike itself. So that's why going through a lot of discomfort is unavoidable. And I speak from experience, and I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. And then if you need help with that, please reach out for a self-discovery session. And we can see if, I might be able to support you in that. But if not, I would say get on that email list for that Tuesday morning once a month, and I'll put the link in there for that too. You can get on my email list, and then you will just receive something from me once a month, max twice, unless something, who knows what, right? I don't know, but for now, that's what I do here. So. All right, my friends, I really hope to meet you face to face on a Zoom sometime in the future, because it is really nice to connect other than just seeing me here on video. Be well.